Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name's Sarah and my channel is called Your Two Shelf, and today I am talking about the Reading Women Challenge. This is something that I haven't participated in before, I haven't heard about before, and I saw it on Jean's channel of Jean's Bookish Thoughts, and immediately I thought that was something that I'd like to do because I tend to read women more than men, and the challenge goes on for the whole year, so that really is up my street as well, because I find some readathons go on for like a week, 2 weeks, and they always have so many challenges within that short period of time that I really like the fact that you have the whole of 2019 to do this. It's something that happens annually. So there are 24 different challenges, and there are 2 authors that are recommended at the end. The only thing I would say, I haven't got books that fit all the categories, and I didn't want to go and buy or borrow books from the library just specifically for these challenges, but obviously if I acquire new books throughout the year that would meet the challenges, then I will use them. So without further ado, I'm just going to have to refer to my notes. So the first one I don't have a book for. The first one is a mystery or thriller by a woman of colour. I don't read a lot of mysteries and thrillers, and so I didn't have very many to choose from at all, and sadly I didn't have any by women of colour. So that's the first one, which I can't show you anything. The second one is about a woman with a mental illness. Now the books can be written by men if they are about a woman, so they have to either be about or written by a woman. So this is written by a man, but it's about a woman. So this is Veronica Decides to Die by Paula Coelho. This book is about a girl called Veronica who takes an overdose thinking that she's going to die. Then she doesn't die, but when she wakes up she finds she's only got a really limited time to live because of the medication that she took. So basically just days, and so yeah, that's all I know about this one. It's a really little book. I actually borrowed it off my friend and I've had it for ages. Yeah, so that's why for that one. The next one is by a woman from New Zealand or Nigeria, and for this one I have chosen Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie. So I haven't read this one, I wouldn't be holding it up. I read and enjoyed Americana, and when I saw this book I snaffled it up from a charity shop, and so this is a good excuse to make me get to it next. Well, not next, but you know, soon. The next one is a book about or set in Appalachia. Now Appalachia is a really large area of the States. It covers several states, and all the books that I thought might be in Appalachia when I googled weren't, and I found one book which is in the same state of part of Appalachia, so it's really close, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and use that because that's all I have, and that is this one, which is The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd. So I've read The Secret Life of Bees by her, which I thought was quite good. This one is about a slave called Handful. So Handful is given to the Grimke family as a present for the daughter when she is 10, and it says sparks begin to fly between Handful and Sarah, 2 girls growing up who never do as they're told. Next one is a children's book, and it specifically said children's, not YA, because there's a separate one for YA. So children's books, I have been keeping or buying books for my daughter and son that I loved when I was a child, and they're all in my daughter's wardrobe, so I couldn't be bothered to go and get them for this video, but we've all heard of them. So my choices for this one is either Heidi by Joanna Spyri, The Rower Children by E. Nesbit, The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, or one called The Peppermint Pig by Nina Borden, which I don't remember too much about, but I remember loving Nina Borden's books, and I remember that one in particular. So that's my choices for children's books, so I'll just see which one takes my fancy at the time. Next is a multi-generational family saga. For that one I have chosen The Thread by Victoria Hislop. So this is set between Thessaloniki in 1917 and a fire which devastates this Greek city, and then it's flitting between there and Thessaloniki in 2007 when a young Anglo-Greek is hearing his grandparents' story for the first time. So it's basically following those 3 generations. I feel like I'm going really quick, but there's quite a lot of questions, so if I don't go quick, it'll go on forever. Okay, next one is featuring a woman in science. Now, you think I'd have loads for this category, but I actually tend to read those books as I get them because they're sort of interest to me. So this could be fiction or non-fiction. So I've got two choices here. One is a non-fiction, a memoir, and that is A Testament of Youth by Vera Brittain. This Vera Brittain was, she gave up an education at Oxford, which she'd always wanted, to become a nurse in the First World War. And this is her memoir of her time, well, basically her life up to that point. So I think there might be further ones of her when she's older. I've seen the film and I loved it. It's a real chunkster. So that's that one. The other one is kind of fits the bill, I think. This is Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani. So she's not a doctor, but this is about her journey with cancer. So I figured it kind of, well, she's not a scientist, I should say. Obviously, there's more than just doctors who work in science. It's about her journey with cancer. So she has stage 4 terminal cancer. She has a near-death experience, and when she comes back from that, her cancer starts to go, and then she ends up being fully cured, even though she was dying. So this is about her experience going through that. Again, it's a non-fiction memoir. So I think that one would count for this category. It sounds super interesting. Next one is a play. I don't have any plays. The only play I have is Romeo and Juliet, which obviously doesn't fit the bill because it's not by a man and it's not focusing mainly on it's not by a woman or focusing mainly on a woman. The next one is a novella. I don't have any novellas either, so I've got books which are kind of a little bit too long, or non-fiction which is around the right length, but no actual novellas. Next was about a female athlete. Again, I don't have any books about a female athlete, so I couldn't do that one. Number 11, a book about a religion which is not your own. For that one, I chose Disobedience by Naomi Alderman, which is about the Jewish religion. I saw Naomi Alderman at the UEA Literary Festival and she was absolutely wonderful. This is a book about a girl called Ronit, who she grew up in quite a strict Jewish family, Orthodox Jews in North London, and she basically broke away from that, went to New York, and her life was very different from where she grew up in. And then she comes back when her father dies, and she's basically, the community is kind of shocked and outraged by her. So that sounds really intriguing, and I don't think I've really read any books about Judaism, so that sounds good. Next we have an award winner for the Lambda Literary Awards. So they are LGBTQ plus awards. There was thousands, well, totally not thousands. There were loads and loads of winners because there's so many different categories. So I had to kind of look in the GoodReads help group to try and work out if I had any of these books without trawling through pages and pages of winners. And I do. So one of the past winners was The Night Watch by Sarah Waters, which is great because one of my resolutions for this year was to read some Sarah Waters, seeing as I seem to be accumulating her books and not reading them. So The Night Watch was on the list, so I'm really excited to get to that one. The next one is a myth retelling. So I don't have any myth retellings. I read Home Fire, which is probably the only myth retelling I had, and so I can't include that one, so I don't have anything like that. A translated work which was published before 1945. So, again, I might be cheating for this one. This was written before 1945 and it is in translation, but it was first published later because I don't think it was found. So it was first published in, I don't know actually. Who knows? I don't know when it was first published, but that is Sweet Française by Irene Nemirovsky. She was writing this while she was in hiding. She was Jewish, excuse me, and she was writing while she was in hiding in the Second World War, and she sadly died. So it says Irene Nemirovsky conceived Sweet Française as a part of 4 or 5 part novel. It was to be a symphony, her War and Peace. Only 2 sections were finished before her tragic death. They form a book that is beautifully complete in itself and awe-inspiring in its understanding of humanity. So that's that one. So like I say, I know it was she died in 1942, so it was written before that, and it's a translation. So that's my selection. It's getting really gloomy. It looks like it's going to pour with rain. Sorry if it's got a bit dark. Okay, then we have a book set by an author who is South Asian. Got 2 choices I couldn't decide at the time between. So I've never read either of these authors before. So this first one is The Folded Earth by Anurhada Roy, and I love this cover. It's gorgeous. This is, I have no idea, so this is her first novel. It says it's an exquisite storytelling. A young woman makes a new life for herself in a tiny town in the foothill of the Himalayas. Struggling to leave a private tragedy behind, the newly wedded Maya abandons herself to the town's peaceful rhythms, befriending a lovesick peasant girl, Charu, and her eccentric landlord, Dewan Sahib. He holds valuable secrets of India's past. That sounds amazing. I don't know if I've even read the back of that before. This is one I got from the Willoughby Book Club. I love stuff about the Himalayas. This sounds really great. And then the other one is The Private Lives of Mrs. Sharma by Ritika Kapoor. So it says Veronika Sharma is a dutiful wife, mother and daughter-in-law, holding the fort in a modest rental in Delhi while her husband tries to rack up savings in Dubai. Working as a receptionist and committed to finding a place for her family in the new Indian dream of air-conditioned malls and high-paid jobs at multinationals, life is going as planned until the day she strikes up a conversation with an uncommonly self-possessed stranger at a metro station. Because while Mrs. Sharma may espouse traditional values, India is changing all around her, and it wouldn't be the end of the world if she came out of her shell a little, would it? That sounds cool. Right, next one is a novel written by an Indigenous woman, which I do not sadly have one of those. And the next one is from the Reading Women Awards shortlist. Again, when I looked at the shortlist, several of the books that were on there were ones I wanted to read, but I don't own any of them at the moment. Number 18 is a love story or romance, and for that one, How to Find Love in a Bookshop by Veronica Henry, which is about, I believe, a woman who inherits a bookshop from her dad, and about the customers and the lives of the customers that frequent the bookshop. So I love a book about books. There's books everywhere. Next is a book about nature. And for that one, I have chosen H is for Hawk by Helen Macdonald. I haven't got the dust jacket for this one. My friend still has it because she lent it to me. And this is about when Helen's dad dies and she's grieving, she decides to train a goshawk. And this is her memoir of her grief and her time training the goshawk. Historical fiction, I chose one that I've had for too long. To the Bright Edge of the World by Eowyn Ivey. Look at that gorgeous cover. This is set in 1885 on a mission in Alaska. A guy who's an explorer and his pregnant wife. And I absolutely loved The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivey. It made my all-time favourite books list. And so when this was released, I rushed out to get it, and for some stupid reason, it's still on my shelf. A book bought or borrowed in 2019. This is one I'm really excited about. This is Almost Love by Louise O'Neill. I've seen this on several Best of the Year books last year, and I treated myself to hardback, even though I hardly ever do that. And this is about a woman who's having an affair with a man who doesn't treat her very well, but it sounds really kind of intense and intriguing. The final for you, so we've got a book that you chose based on its cover. So I chose this book, and then so it happens that I then keep seeing it on BookTube, and it's been the Feminist Orchestra book, and they've just discussed it, and so I'm looking forward to watching that. And that is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This is a book about time travel. It's marketed as a sci-fi book, and I loved the cover. You can't really see, you see the colours are really gorgeous, and I just love the kind of stencil sort of, I don't know, design. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this. This is a library book, so this will be one of the ones I get to next. The penultimate one is a book that's part of a series. For that one I have chosen The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is the first in a series. This is a YA book, again, I got from the library, so this will be coming fairly soon, and this is about a woman who has supernatural powers. I think she can hold objects and divine stuff about the owners of the objects by holding them. And then finally, a YA book by a woman of colour. So the only book that I think fits into this category is Oggy and Me by RJ Palacio. She's from Cuba, I think. I'm really sorry, I did look up where she's from before I did this and now I can't remember. I think it's Cuba. So I absolutely loved the book called Wonder, which she wrote first, about a boy called Oggy. He has a syndrome which is probably Treacher-Collins syndrome, so he looks very different, and this is written from the perspectives of his 3 friends from school, and so it's a kind of not a sequel but like a byproduct of the first book. And my mum treated me to this recently, so this will be really lovely to read because I loved that book. So that is all of the questions. And then there's 2 bonus authors. So one is Jhumpa Lahiri, which I don't own anything by her, and the other one is Jesmyn Ward, which I do have Sing Unburied Sing, which I got in the summer when I was getting books for the Women's Prize, and this also won the National Book Award, so I'm sure this is really good. I've heard quite a lot about it, I just haven't got around to it yet. So that was my like huge, great big long video. I will link in the show notes, in the comments section down below. I will link the video that the makers of the readathon have done, and I'll link that because they go through the categories and some questions. There's also a GoodReads group which I can link in the comments. If you're going to take part, let me know. It'll be really cool to know what other people are doing for this challenge, and hopefully I'll see some more lists on BookTube. And yeah, if you've read any of the books that I mentioned, let me know what you thought, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye!